Hey, everybody. Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome, in fact, to PCP Movie Night. Welcome, more so, in fact, to the beginning of the last week of March Madness 2026. We've been celebrating the insanity and madness of cinema all month long here on PCP Movie Night, over at Heroes for Hire Comic Club and over at One Collection Down. We've covered a ton of movies. We're just getting started, though, for the grand finale. And tonight, we're talking about Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. There's my Dark Sky 30th anniversary. It is a 30th, right? Yeah, 30th anniversary edition right there. I got to meet the homies from Dark Sky a couple of years ago at Scarefest. This is one of the Blu-rays they hooked me up with, along with some Ty West films that I hadn't really dived into, like The Innkeepers and House of the Devil. But this was one of the ones they hooked me up with. I am a huge fan of this movie. We covered it on Dylan's Horror Show about 3-ish years ago. That was my first time watching this film. It's something I had always heard about, but I didn't watch it when it first came out. It was originally produced and supposed to release in 1986, but because of its long-standing, even to this day, battle with the Motion Picture Association, it didn't come out till 1990, and even then, very few people saw it. But tonight, we're going to be talking about it. I think it's a very disturbing, hard-to-watch film, but a very important and a must-watch film, in my opinion. We got some first-timers tonight, and we got some deviants like myself. But one of those first-timers is Jelani. What's up, homie? How you doing?
Station. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need a shower after watching this. This has been a very special time. So I'm glad to be here to talk about it, though, because I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. I cannot wait to discuss
very intrigued
this.
to see where this conversation is going to go, especially with another first-time watcher, long-time panelist. It's our homie Brooks. What's up, man?
What's up?
You excited to talk about this one?
Yeah, and spoiler warning, I am going to be comparing this guy to Martin a lot, probably.
Yeah, well, there's an easy comparison, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a comparison to Fade to Black. It's almost like it's intentional, this like March Madness that I put together. It's crazy.
Almost. Seems like
crazy.
almost.
Yeah. Then we're going to maybe next week top it off with like maybe, I don't know, the most famous portrayal of a real life serial killer in film. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's probably more than, no, he's the most famous, I would say, right?
Mhm.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Now let's get to somebody who's seen this movie before. So that means that they know what's in this movie and chose to watch it again and join us tonight. And it's Jake from Hounds of Gore. What's up?
Right. Deviant here. How's it going?
Yes. Good to have you back on, bro.
Yeah, good to be here, man. Thanks for having me again.
Of course. And I had a feeling this homie would sign up. It's Joe Corello. How's it going?
It's true. I watched this twice leading up to this discussion. Because like almost right after it finished, I was like, you know what? Let's go right back in. So
yeah, you're like, I got another 55 minutes to kill.
Exactly. There we go.
Let's go.
Done. Let's do it.
All right. Also, first time watch. It's our homie Cliff from Cliff on Comics.
Station. I got Station right this time. I feel so good. Yeah. Like what the fuck did I sign up for? like this has been. I'm gonna watch nothing but comedy for the rest of the week. I can't. Like I've just been channel to channel, just watching the most horrific, brutal stories of humanity possibly told. But you know what's fascinating about this movie? Literally everything the movie itself is fascinating. Everything that happened outside the movie, like the MPAA, like Siskel and Ebert fighting for this movie to be shown. Did y'all know Siskel and Ebert have fought for this movie to be shown?
Yep.
Like, my God, this is crazy. So I didn't realize that this was a big deal for Michael Rooker. I just thought that he was like a late in life, bloomer. But no, apparently this was his baby before Walking Dead and Guardians showed up in his life. So yeah, there's a big learning experience for me on this film.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to talk about, right? Because like you mentioned, there's a lot of backstory. It's based kind of on real events. There was the dude, Henry, was it Lucas? Is that his second,
Lucas,
his last name? So like he was he's a convicted serial killer. Otis is based on a real person as well. They fudge some things here. They mix some things up. And one of the most famous things, I guess, about Henry nowadays is that at the time he had confessed to like over 360 murders. Everybody thought he was just a killer and all this kind of stuff. Turns out a lot of that's not true. They can really only put around 10 or 12 like murders on him, including his mother.
That's still a lot.
That's still plenty. That's still plenty.
One is too much.
Those aren't Chicago numbers, though.
Those aren't fucked up bears. That's my favorite line in this movie. Anyway, so you got the real life stuff. You got the fact that this is Michael Rooker's first starring role. We just talked about a Michael Rooker film a couple weeks ago when we talked about one of his early films where he's actually playing a good guy sheriff, Dark Half, right? And I think he does a great role in that movie. But I'm going to tell you something. I think this is the best role of Michael Rooker's career. And I also think it's the best role I have ever seen personally from a first-time leading man in a film. Like, it's chilling. And a few years ago when we covered this on Dylan's Horror Show, I made the statement that this is better than any performance by any actor playing Hannibal Lecter. That caused some controversy on the panel. However, I do stand by that because I love this film. I think it's a very tough watch, obviously, but it's very impactful and powerful. I think it's unsettling with those riveting performances. It's bold in its commitment to realism and truthfulness, even though it's based on a serial killer who not all of his stories were truthful. So it ties into that unreliable narrator. You don't know what to believe, what's fiction, what's fantasy. The beautiful thing to me about this movie is there's very, very little fantasy. And I think that's one of the reasons why this movie got the response that it did, especially from the MPAA, because they never really gave this movie the X rating for nudity or sex or violence or gore. They gave it based on, I don't remember the exact quote, but it's something about like the moral ground of the movie, right? It was like
tone of the movie.
Yeah, a morality thing, right? And then just several years ago, maybe 2016, to me, I guess that's still several years ago because we're getting old. But they submitted it again, right? Because they wanted to show it for its anniversary or something for his in 2016. And they still once again were like, nope, X, boom, you're done. You know, NC-17, I guess is
crazy
what
because they relented. They relented into R because what happened was, like, they campaigned across the producers. They just went state to state doing midnight showings at theaters that would do it because so many theaters wouldn't do it because they were so afraid of like having to be responsible for an X-rated film. And so the midnight showings and reviews, like the Los Angeles Times, all right, talk about this is a great film. Why is Friday the 13th getting R ratings left and right, and this movie is insane? And so they relented, and they finally did a limited R-rated release, and that is mind-blowing to me because that's 1986, right? So, like, okay, but in 2016, are you freaking kidding me? Like, Jesus Christ, we are such an uptight, weird country. Yeah. Like, always.
In the Siskel and Ebert bit you were talking about, Roger Ebert, one of the things he says is America seems to me to be the only country that thinks that there shouldn't just be films for adults.
Yes.
Right? Like there are supposed to be films like this. And it is shocking that Siskel and Ebert like campaigned for this movie so much because there are movies that are not as impactful, that are way more silly and irreverent and dumb than Henry. And Henry's a great movie, right? But those movies, they would tear apart and say it's trash and nobody should watch it. They shouldn't even have been allowed to make it. It's really weird when you see prudes like Siskel and Ebert on the side of this film. It almost makes you wonder, like, what the hell?
When you watch this film, you could understand why prudes like Siskel and Ebert would defend this. Because those movies, although they're fun, popcorn, horror thriller, this is art. This is we're not shying away. We're not doing gimmicks. Look at a serial killer, right? And this movie doesn't have an arc. There's no redemption. No one is a hero. It's just methodical and yet also chaotic murder and violence. And that's why I think they were defending it, and I think that's why this movie stands apart so much when you watch it. And it's also why it's so horrifying, and I'd like to never watch it again. But also, it's an incredibly well-made film.
All right, I feel like we're going to have a good conversation because Cliff already cannot contain himself, and I'm excited for that. So, Cliff, just hold those thoughts a little bit longer. Jelani, first time watch. I'm very curious, man. Sorry to put you through this, but I think you needed to have this in your life. What'd you think?
What the fuck, man? What the fuck? Like, I am now desensitized because I thought most of this movie was weak sauce compared to the shit I have seen that we have watched together. That's not a bad thing though, because had I watched this before I watched most of the stuff we watched, I would have a problem. I would have had to have a long talk with you, Robbie, about what we're watching and what we need to talk about.
Yeah, you and half of my ex-girlfriends, man.
Yeah, man, this movie brutal, bro. This movie absolutely brutal. It's one of those films though where, like I said, I'm desensitized. Like, I don't know if I watched a clean censored version of this movie that y'all are like gushing about, because there are parts where I like Henry, and then there are parts where I hate the fuck out of Henry, and I'm like torn in between. It's so much. It's so complex. This film is very layered for how short it is, and how, I don't know how to explain it. It just takes the concept of this drifter, puts him in a situation where he's in one of the murder capitals of the United States, and he just kills people and may or may not have gotten away with most of these. You know what I'm saying? It's a scary film because there are people like this right now getting away with a lot of killing. And I love how there's scenes with him and Otis where he's like, I got to change up my modus operandi because I gotta kill, but I can't kill the same way.
That's Latin, by the way. Bet you didn't know any Latin.
Yeah, e pluribus unum and et tu brute.
That's one of my favorite bits in the movie where he's like, "That's Latin, by the way. Bet you never heard no Latin.
Heard no modus operandi." But it's yeah, man. It bothers me because I don't know if I watched. Like I said, I don't know if I watched the censored version. The people like,
I don't think there's a censored version out there to watch, Jelani, honestly.
Okay, good.
Because the movie was never officially rated, right? So it's been released unrated all across the. Where'd you watch it? Like Tubi or something?
No, I watched it on Plex. It was like,
oh, you got the real one then. You got the real one. Man.
Okay, cool,
yeah.
Cool.
It's just short because it's short.
Yeah. I was like, I thought that they showed the murders like more brutally, like the very beginning of the movie, the lady that's out in the middle of the field that starts the movie, and then the liquor store owners or something. I thought that it showed those scenes, and I was looking trying to see if I saw this, and I was just like, oh, they're just fucking dead. So I'm just like, all right, let's live with that. And this movie is just it's got a great cast. It's got a great. No one is lovable. Nothing is worth you like feeling bad for someone. I really do. I'm saying that about all the characters, even the damn parole officer. There's just no one in this movie that I'd be like okay with. Even the lady walking her fucking dog. I was like, God, I hate that lady. I don't know why.
I hope you die.
Like it. And I wanted her killed, and I was like, damn it. I don't know why. I wanted her dead. But once again, I am so desensitized because if I had seen this movie before we start watching maybe Friday the 13th movies, I'd be like, we need to talk, Robbie.
Yeah, well, you got to work your way up to Henry, man. You can't just like drop somebody from Care Bears the movie to fucking Henry, the portrait of a serial killer. You can't just do that, right? Yeah.
Now I'm just all right. This is a serial killer, and plus this does draw things to Martin, and Henry is a lot better than Martin. He's a lot, to be honest, and I know Brooks is going to do that comparison, but I think that Henry is more to get put together than Martin is. as you compare the two, they're both crazy serial killers, but Henry has the distinction of getting away with it, and not being as clumsy as Martin is, because Martin is super clumsy. And I'm sorry, Brooks, I don't know if I took that from you, but it's just those two. You put these two movies together, and you're like, now I gotta watch Norman Bates and figure out what the hell was the best out of him, because I don't remember two. I remember 1, 2, not 3, and I love 4 because Olivia Hussey. That's right. I said it, and I'm done.
All right. I appreciate your thoughts, man. Well said. What about you, Brooks? First time watch. I'm very interested to hear what you think about this film.
Yes, I'm conflicted because, like, on the one hand, like, I don't like it. It made me feel bad. Like, it made me like not. I just didn't feel good about watching it. But like at the same time, on the other hand, like, it is a very fascinating kind of like portrayal, and like very different from like some previous series, because like Martin's an example of this. But this, a lot of serial killers, like, they want to be seen. They want some kind of attention, That's why, like, they usually get caught. But Henry's like, he's not like that. He's just a guy who wants to kill, and he actually doesn't want to get caught. And that's kind of what makes him, like, so terrifying. But, like, it also makes the movie, like, extremely grim. Like, it's one of the most grim movies I've seen. Just like, it's not necessarily the most, like, it's got some really, like violent stuff, and, like, but it's not, like, very gory movie, I guess you'd say. But, like, it's brutal in, like, a very subtle way. Like, the way that Henry is, like, the way he treats the kills, like, he doesn't give a shit about anything, like, and it feels like, they're trying to set something up, but, like, it's all just like, it's almost nihilistic in a way,
Mm-hmm.
And I can get why, like, people would not have been down with this movie back in the day, but, like, I think that's an important thing for us to, think about as a part of our humanity too. Is nihilism is kind of part of our nature as well. Like, we kind of fear the nothingness, like, that there's no point to anything. And, like, it's something that we need to, like, to look at, even if it is, like, uncomfortable at times. And this movie has some pretty uncomfortable scenes, I have to say.
Yeah. I've seen a talk with John McNaughton, the co-writer and director of this film. Also the director of Wild Things, which after I think we need to do Wild Things, man, because I don't think I've really appreciated that movie, man. So I'm ready to get into some Wild Things.
Yeah.
But so he was talking, somebody mentioned to him that they thought that they felt like that one of their most profound things they thought about this movie was that it was about, like, fate and all these different fates circling around each other, and, like, these women were fated to be killed by Henry. And he's like, no, it's actually the opposite. It's the idea that there is no fate. There was nothing that could have been done, nothing that they did, nothing that ever got set forth in the universe that led them to their death. It's just that somebody like Henry is out there who just wants to kill you. And that's a Lovecraftian idea. Like, when you think about the old gods, the old ones and shit like that, right? Like that Hellboy idea. Like, sure, a vampire may want to, like, sex you up and, like, turn you and, like, bride you or groom you for, like, the rest of your eternal life or something like that. But Henry just wants to kill you and move on. Yeah. Like, Henry killing is no difference to him than any junkie getting another fix, or any cigarette smoker getting another cigarette. Right. And, like, I don't know, man. And that's, you're right, dude. This movie's hard to watch and disturbing and unsettling, not because of gore, not because of violence, but because of the bleak, grim look at not just a man, but about society in general. We'll get into all that. Jake, what about you? You're familiar with this film. You're a deviant like me and Joe.
I am, yes.
Think.
It's been a while since I've seen this, and I really enjoy it. To me, it's a great film. To me, there's a lot going on that really works for it. Especially with the type of stuff that I do typically watch. To me, this is almost like a art film to me in a way. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff that I like. Just kind of like you were talking about. There is no catharsis in this movie. There's no, there's no detective subplot going on trying to find this guy. There's a lot of trauma in this movie. that makes it tense between the three main characters, I think. You know, I was reading, you know, and they categorize it kind of as that blank cinema. And I enjoyed the fact that we're just really like, it's almost documentary-ish, right? We're following this guy and, you know, and watching him kill people, you know, him kind of almost, you know, maybe not so much grooming another person, but, you know, having somebody kind of latch on to him and kind of up the scale, because, you know, I feel like Henry was pretty subdued and Otis, you know, kind of amped it up a little bit more. But I like when you guys were talking, you know, there is a big like emptiness, you know what I mean? It is a little bit nihilistic too, like, you know, even like we talk about like the ending, you know what I mean? Like it's left up to interpretation. You know, like, you know, like you said, Robbie too, like there, you know, it's no different, man. And I feel that Michael Rooker also played just, you know, kind of a emotionless character, which I liked a lot. And you know, it was just his way of life, you know what I mean? He was
I guess I love you too.
Yeah. He was a drifter, and you know, he killed to fill those voids. And you know, you think he would have some sort of relationships, and then those relationships would be nothing to him, you know what I mean? But overall, especially I think too, like comparing it with other movies that I've seen, especially like serial killer movies and stuff like that, it's completely fucking different. And I really enjoy that about this movie too. So overall, like great movie for me.
You know, the fascination with serial killers was already well underway when this movie was coming out, right? And one of the things I think this movie does so well is it turns the camera on you just a little bit. Like it makes, like it does that in a way that I think is rather profound. What about you, Joe? You're a deviant as well.
Yeah.
Not the first time watch. What do you think about Henry Portrait?
No, for sure. I mean, I watched this before bed. I watched Misery before bed before that. I watched Begonia before bed the other week.
See?
Jelani told me that's a good one. We got I got to watch.
I like Begonia and Misery, very comparable. But
oh yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But with this movie, one thing that really jumped out at me is how Michael Rooker's character in this movie and Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men are opposite ends of the same coin, pun intended. Where Javier, like they're both like forces of nature that represent nihilism, but one, it's, you know, Henry is pure emotion, and Javier, there is absolutely no emotion. It is all, this is the structure, you know, and you abide to what the structure dictates for you. And Henry is just, it's all from the gut. It's all, you know, he is a force of nature where people are just at his whim. One of the things that I can't believe I'm getting to say this because we're already 25 minutes in, and I get to finally say something about this movie. But the fact that we never ever see any police procedural stuff at all makes this movie incredibly unique. They literally don't make movies like this. Studios straight up go like, well, where are the police? What are you doing? You know, so I feel like, you know, special shout out for, you know, Jelani here, that this movie literally said, fuck the police. They don't get to be in this. You know? So, and I
they don't solve crimes.
They sure don't in this movie.
What you just said reminds me of like Fade to Black. Like that's a movie that doesn't need a police procedural aspect to it, that forces it in, and it kind of like undercuts the serious tone of the rest of the film, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Whereas this movie is very much it's a reflection of 80s conservative Reagan era, rising crime rates in major cities, and like it's really like trying to show a sort of like it's weird how the movie is so over the top in a lot of ways, but it's also trying to show you, and that's the point Cliff was making before with what Siskel and Ebert were talking about, is like it's important because you think this is over the top, but it's actually not. Like these things happen, and
it happens often, every day.
And us act like it's a disservice to the citizenry to not allow movies like people have access to movies like this that are actually doing something, whereas like their look at things like Friday the 13th and other things like that, like that also serves a purpose. There's a catharsis in those movies, but they're supernatural, or there's some other elements to them, whereas this is very like, no, like a guy could just pretend he needs car trouble, which also happens in No Country for Old Men, or those kind of things, and then just you just get killed for trying to help, trying to be a good Samaritan or something like that. But that doesn't mean that is the whole world. Like I think too often movies like this get critiqued for being like, well, you're saying the entire, and like, no, it's a part of the world. Grow up. Like this is like, the world is a complicated place. This is a complicated movie with not a clear-cut message. There's a lot going on. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, a not clear-cut message, in that's life. There isn't like, oh, if only this character did this, then everything would have been fine. Like,
Bob Saget doesn't show up at the end of the day and give you a nice little lesson to put everything in perspective, right?
Yeah, like there are lessons. I'll get more into that when we're talking about what the movie's about and everything. But yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Heck yeah, loving this conversation already. Cliff, you've already kind of buried the lead a little bit, but what do you think about this film?
I mean, like it's funny, right? Because it's deeply affecting without being in your face violence. Isn't that strange, right?
Yeah.
And like and every scene is just so like, it's so stark, it's so controlled, because like it's ordinary, but like menace lurks underneath at every time. Like just the scene in the kitchen with Otis and his sister and get me a beer, all of that. There's just tension, and at no point do you ever feel at ease with Henry, like right from the beginning, you're like, wow, he's really disturbed and this is threatening. And Otis just seems just a little too excited by all this, So, I mean, this movie is like, deeply uncomfortable. Did we say deeply uncomfortable? I feel like uncomfortable was thrown around a lot. It's really uncomfortable, and it's like Henry. It's clinical and detached, right? The film is clinical and detached. Henry is clinical about what he does, but he is detached, period. We don't get answers, backstory, nothing. He is just, like you said, a force. He's just this thing out in the world, until one day something kills him, which is probably what is likely to happen, right? One day you're gonna rest the wrong bitch or the wrong motherfucker, and it's over for Henry, But until then, there he is, just dumping bodies in rivers. And leaving suitcases on the side of the road. But yeah, the movie does not explain him, right? And there's no motive, there's no redemption, there's just his horrifying behavior. That's all you're left with. And that's without me getting into my other thoughts in the other categories of the movie.
All right. So the next category I want to talk about, we always talk about the performances. So this movie, we've already talked about a lot. I think most of us have mentioned there's some great performances, at least one, if not many, in this film. But this is a cast of 3. We have a panel of 6. So I'm curious to see how this is going to go. So Jelani, tell me a performance you want to highlight in the film.
Now, if y'all want to speak about this character, by all means, go for it. But I really want to talk about Otis. I think Otis immediately, the second I saw Otis on the screen with his jagged teeth and balding hair and gross demeanor, and the fact that I could smell him like on the screen, it tells me something. He's a product of his environment. He's just a con man. He's put in jail for whatever he was put in jail for. I don't remember if they mentioned it, but the second I saw him, I was like, what a piece of shit. Like, he's just seemed like he picked Becky up in the airport, and he was just such an awful human. Like, you just didn't. I didn't like him. I thought
Slimy,
he was
sleazy,
He's like a
right?
shit kicker piece of shit.
Yeah, he's just an awful person. And like the fact that like he has such a down to earth sister,
Yeah.
and they don't seem like they had the same daddy. I don't know what it is about that situation, but it did not come out. It did not. They do not favor. And he goes through the film, and he's gung ho. He's frightened.
He's the apprentice.
First. Yeah, he is the apprentice, and he's frightened, and then he's gung ho in that next moment, and then after that he goes to a little too gung ho. Like, he just seems like he helps Henry escalate. Like, he seems like he would be the one to get Henry caught. Like, if they had continued with their spree, he would have been the one to fuck up something. Like, I assumed when they threw the camcorder out of the car because it was broken, I thought the videotape was in there, and that's what caught him. It was going to catch him.
Yeah, but this is the 80s. As soon as you break the video camera, it's useless now. You can't pull anything. You can't put that tape back together.
It's in there. And then why would somebody do that? Be like, hey, there's this videotape, and then no one has a videotape or VCR player to play it to see what's on it. Be like, hey, this was intact. We need to go look at it, kind of situation. But throughout the movie, he progresses to the point where, of course, he does that thing with his sister that you're just like not supposed to do, and it's disturbing. You saw it coming. I like how Henry grabs him by the head. Hey, you won't do that. Don't do that.
Right. That he has a code for, right? Yeah. But that don't stop him from murdering all these people.
That's one of the things the movie does so well is it lures you into you're looking for a narrative, you're looking for a redemption arc, you're looking for a like that 3-act structure,
or that there's a line, or that there's even a line.
Yeah, or like the idea like
he draws
like
that
with
line,
him and her, like it lures you into this false fantasy that everything's going to be okay. They have found each other now. They have found love, right? Two people that have been abused.
In a hopeless place.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, I'm glad you mentioned him. Tom Towles is he's in tons of stuff. He's in the Tom Savini Night of the Living Dead, right? He's actually, they said he passed away not too long ago, but apparently he was a sweetheart. He's wearing false teeth. Yeah. The real Otis, his name was pronounced Otis. There's a lot of Henry's backstory that was actually taken from the real Otis, right? Like the idea that he was abused. Otis was the one in real life that was abused by his dad at an early age, right? And he became a prostitute. He was pretty much a prostitute throughout his life. Him and Henry met in prison, and they had like a relationship. And it's actually, there's a scene that alluded to that in the movie that they cut because they didn't really think that it worked in the context of where the characters were in that moment. But a tragic character, but like you said, a sleazy, nasty.
I feel like they had some sort of alluding to his, I guess, sexuality when he was like selling weed to the high school students.
Yeah, to the high schools. And he wanted to, that's what I want to bring up too. He wanted to kill that guy. He wanted revenge for getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
And Henry was like, no, don't do that. You know, people have seen you with him. You can't do, you know, they'll come back. It'll come back to you. And as he's apprenticing him, he's grooming him. And it's so weird that once again, Otis is the apprentice, but Otis feels like he would have gone this route eventually. Like this would have been the thing to do. Like I'm pretty sure he just wanted to sleep with the prostitutes. And here he's like, sex is wrong. You know, I know you can tell that Henry knew, you know, Henry is not a sexual person other than, you know, I'm glad they cut that scene out because he doesn't form relationships. The way this movie is framed, he is not.
Want some fries?
He's just this entity. And that's what he is. And he has a code of just murder because he doesn't kill the lady after eating in the diner. He doesn't, you know, he doesn't kill Becky, allegedly. We'll say that she's alive. She just stayed in the hotel room, right?
She's totally dead, bro. She's totally dead. Yeah. All right, Otis, though, great pick, man. A very complex character based on a very sadistic and complex individual. And I can't remember if it was Otis or Henry. One of them had confessed to the America's Most Wanted guy killing his son or something, but I don't know how true they think that actually is. But these are the killers that might be. Was it Michael Walsh? Is that his name? Yeah. Because
who was in issues of DC Comics? There was that like crossover. It was like, you know, like the
Outsiders.
Yeah, with the Outsiders. It was very silly in hindsight.
Yeah, it is. Brooks, what about you? What's a performance you want to highlight?
There are, like, Henry has a lot of victims in this movie, but like there's one particular scene I think is probably the most uncomfortable scene in the movie. And I think like the victims in it were like the ones that affected me the most. It's you know, it starts, Otis is sexually assaulting this lady. And like, you know, there's a dude over there with a sack over his head. Like, you don't know anything about it. You don't know their relationship. You don't know if they're husband and wife. You don't know anything. But then, like, you know, all of a sudden this third dude just comes in out of nowhere, and he just gets like, it's like, God damn, that scene, like, just, oh man,
it's like a snuff film, man. It's like watching a snuff film.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like, you know, they sold it, man. Like, I felt bad for these people. It's like, God damn, just imagine being in this situation, like, you know, having these two fucking like weird fucking freaks have this much fucking power over you. It's like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, I understand, like, you know, how this movie could make people uncomfortable. At the same time, like, you know, there is something like, there's something there, you know, and like, you know, I didn't want to take, like, you know, too many of the like mainline characters. So like, you know, they were kind of my backup.
Everybody's so nice, man. So you're saying the unfortunate family from the snuff film incident was not awarded America's Funniest Home Video, by the way.
I don't believe so.
That's the toughest part of the film to watch, in my opinion. I think somebody mentioned in the comments, like, actually the movies, it's just when the mom and the son, and it's that's a hard bit to watch. And what's the craziest bit is when it pulls out and you realize that you're watching along with Henry and Otis. And they're just sitting there like they're watching a boring football game, right? Yeah.
And it kind of proves, like, you know, Henry's like disinterest in like sex and stuff, because like he just snaps their neck, like he just does not care about any of that stuff. Like all he cares about is the kill, it seems like.
Also, apparently, motherfuckers Conan the Barbarian just snapping necks left and right. Like, I didn't think it was that easy, man, but apparently I don't.
It makes it look easy.
Jake, what about you? What's the performance you want to highlight? I guess the guns on Henry snapping those necks.
Yeah, just actually, I will. I'm gonna go for Becky. Actually, I think she grounded that film in some sort of reality, and almost like hope that there is some sort of, you know, human feelings within the movie. I think too, just the first, you know, I think it was like the first time she's like sitting with Henry, and she just starts openly talking about her dad fucking abusing her, and just like,
And then the most unintentionally funny moment in the movie is when Henry looks at her and goes, "Didn't get along with your dad, did you?" No shit, dude.
Yeah, I mean, her, you know, having that vulnerability, the trauma, I think, like, obviously, like, her need for connection and trying to find that within Henry, and then just kind of like, I mean, because it's there throughout the whole movie, right? Like, Jelani mentioned, you know, the first time it happened, right? Like, Henry grabs him by the back of the neck, and then obviously, like, later on, like, you know, she stabs her brother right in the eye, and Henry comes to her rescue again. You know what I mean? And then they run away together, right? But I don't know. I think she gave a really good performance throughout the whole film.
Mhm.
She did.
She was
She
good.
did. That was what's her name? Tracy Arnold? Tracy
Yeah,
Arnold.
Tracy Arnold.
Yeah.
Fantastic performance in the movie. She does sell it because exactly like you were saying, we as the audience get lured into the idea that maybe there's a hope at the end of this very bleak and dark tunnel that they're in. And part of that is through her performance, because you can see how this woman who's gone through so much, who considers herself a broken person, who is, you can see the sad tragedy of how she could kind of interpret Henry as being like a savior for her,
Yeah,
or something like that, right? And it's chilling.
and I mean, to an extent, he was right. I mean, like, he got her out of that relationship with whatever it was with her brother. I mean, at
Yeah.
that point, you know,
Well, yeah, you could say that. I mean, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
the ultimate saver.
Yeah, and another comparison to Martin, not quite like Christine in that movie, right? Where she gets out, right? Becky doesn't, because I mean, I think it's 100%. I mean, that's her in the suitcase at the end of the movie.
Clearly,
It's so chilling. It's so chilling.
Lies, deceptions. Becky's alive. She's
There's
like
blood on the case. It's covered in blood.
So awesome.
It's still got blood from Otis, man. That's Otis's blood.
No, they dumped that back. This is a different
heavy,
bag.
bro.
I'm a contrarian.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
cool.
one of my favorite YouTube channels talking about horror movies is this guy called the Horror Geek. And when he covers this movie, it cracks me up, because every time he mentions that character, he goes, "Tonight on a special episode of Roseanne, Becky learns," and it just cracks me the hell up. And then he's like, "Well, no wonder they had to replace her." Anyway, what a great performance. Seriously, it's one of the best ones in the movie. All right, Joe, what you got?
Okay, so here I'm going to, like, I normally hate sort of doing this, but I'm going to take two smaller characters, just because, again, this movie, there's only so many people you could do. There's two more people to go, and Michael Rooker is one of them. So, and Chicago, so you guys can fight over which one gets those two. So I'm going to go with the guy that Henry is working for, like the bug exterminator, and the guy selling the TVs.
Okay.
Because they're two important characters to establish Henry's psyche. One of them, Henry, again, in both instances, in the two scenes he's interacting with them, he's being calm and collected, but he's not happy. And he is expressing how he's like, this isn't what I signed up. Like, this isn't what I want. And the one guy, you know, the exterminator, whether intentionally or not, You know, we don't know how many times they've interacted. We don't know if he's seen other sides of Henry before, if he knows anything else about him, is immediately like sympathetic. And it's like, I understand your plight. I thought we were going to get more work too, you know, and is very much treating Henry in a way that no one else really treats Henry in the movie. Like Becky can't even do this for him because she has nothing to give. All she can do is take because of her situation. He's the only guy who's just like, here, you know what? Here's some money. Take some extra money. Consider a retainer. And he shows Henry this kindness and then goes above and beyond too, being like, you know, and Henry's like, but wait, I've got the, you know, I got the spray. Don't you need it back? And he was like, keep it. He's like trying to show this guy, like, look, this is a good faith arrangement. I'm going to need you again at some point. And this is me showing you I'm not fucking with you. And no one else does that to Henry the whole movie.
You are
We
right.
never see that. Everything's like take, or on the same level. He's the only one who sort of like submits a bit to it, but in an empathetic way. He's not being pathetic about it. He's not like pleading for his life. He's not like, I don't want any trouble. It's pure empathy. He's the only character that expresses pure empathy to Henry's like plight. Then we go to the guy, you know, selling the TVs, like the fence or whatever they're calling him. And he's straight up a precursor to comic book guy in The Simpsons.
Yes.
Worst
just
television ever.
You know?
Worst
But-
TV ever.
I feel
And
like the
he-
precursor to the comic book guy showed up in the Bible, but go ahead.
Anyway, so we had the same type of situation of, you know, Henry being like, this isn't really what I'm looking for. And instead of showing empathy or understanding or anything, like if the guy maybe was even like, look, I can't do this for you like now, but like come back tomorrow, maybe I'll have something, you know, and I'll call you when something comes. Like, not, he was just straight up, just like, that's how it works. It was no, like, he was very much establishing there is no empathy between us. I don't give a fuck about your situation. You don't give a fuck about my situation.
Mhm.
And was very like, this is clearly transactional, which allowed Henry's like sort of be like, okay, if this is transactional, then I'll take what I want, which is your life. Like, you know, straight up. So those two characters are really important to showing the depths of Henry. And, you know, especially the Exterminator, I don't think gets talked about nearly enough. I looked into, you know, I was looking at other reviews and stuff. No one talks about that. And I think it's one of the singular moments in the movie to show that Henry doesn't always just go off the handle. He isn't an agent of chaos. He is operating under some rules. And that's really the only scene I think we get that in.
You know, I've never heard that the comparison between those two interactions, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that usually gets brought up by McNaughton himself, and I think that's one of the interesting things about the movie, is the fence dude, the TV salesman guy, right?
Yeah.
We as the audience are ready. Kill this motherfucker, Henry. He's obnoxious.
Yeah.
He sucks. We all know somebody who's a smart ass like that. And what's the scene right after that? The home video scene, like the home invasion scene.
Mhm.
And so now, like, you're like, kill this motherfucker. Then you all of a sudden you're like, no, I don't want to see this. I didn't sign up for this, right? And that's a cool. But I never heard anybody put it together with the boss of the extermination company. That's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Cliff, what you got, man? There's a city, a car. And Michael Rooker. What you got?
I mean, first of all, how dare I be limited to the rules of not copying someone else's? Okay, like that's number one. All right. Number two, like, why shouldn't we talk Michael Rooker? Because this is a breakout performance. He's got he is eerie, restraint, calm, soft-spokenness, his ability to remain disconnected, and stay emotionally flat, which makes every scene terrifying. And by the way, this couldn't be further from who Michael Rooker is in person, by the way, because ever since he interrupted his dinner at Terrificon a couple years ago, I mean, I've seen a much softer side. And then there was karaoke afterwards. But
what if he just came at you with a soldering iron or something? Like right when you did
you know what? I would have deserved it. I would have deserved it. Also, Gregory Peck's grandson was there on the other side of the room, looking like the finest motherfucker you've ever seen, you know, eating chicken. And like my God, like, you know, like if Joe were there with me, I would be like, oh my God, we should excuse ourselves from the room, or should we take a picture of Mr. Peck real quick before we go?
Wow.
Anyhow, it was just terrible. So, God, Eddie. So anyhow, so I'm not going to get into my side story, but yeah, no, like, you know, I like from the moment we meet him, I am disturbed by him. I'm more disturbed by him than Otis, right? Mm-hmm. And Otis is just somebody who you expect to encounter and be disturbing in real life.
And Otis is also a moron. Like, so
he is, but like, let's all be honest. We've all met an Otis at least once. And let me tell you, I live in America. We meet an Otis at least once or twice a week.
Yep.
Okay.
I can smell him. I can smell him.
Exactly. We have all smelled this dude walk into the gas station when we're trying to pay. You know? Anyhow, that said, Becky is great because she brings, as a lead character, she's the only lead character that brings a sense of empathy to the situation, right? Although Joe, I felt that you were spot on with the extermination guy, and I like the tension that it creates. The only thing that makes me sad is from the moment we meet her, you cannot help but feel that she is in danger. Right? Yeah. And like, but we need her to be there because this movie has to have something, right? Because there is all the other things. The rest of the movie is just chaos, right? So she is that thing. She is that real world injection into the story, and she has to stand up against what Henry is, you know? So that's it for my 2 cents on casting, because I felt the two of them made the film.
I think the cast is incredible. Everybody, every character you brought up, every performance works. The dude who played that fence, by the way, what's his name? Ray Atherton. He was an actual like criminal for bootlegging, like movies and TV and shit like that. Like he was actually one of those dudes, and that's pretty freaking funny. I will say the streets of Chicago are my favorite character because the city itself and where it is shown to be such an influence into the film's look and style. And we'll get to all that, but also a major shout out to Kurt Nabig, who plays Jack, who was the jock who punches the fuck out of Otis, because nobody should ever try to grab another person's thigh without their permission. There you go. And if somebody does that to you, knock them the fuck out, dude. And dude, talk about
Unless you're Shia LaBeouf, you just shut the hell up and walk out.
That's different. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, if you're Shia LaBeouf, if you come across Shia LaBeouf, you do what Jack did to Otis in this one, apparently, and just knock the fuck out of him, man. That dude's unhinged. All right. Pretty soon they're going to be like Shia. Portrait of us. Anyway, moving on. All right. Style and structure. I think the style is gritty. It's got those raw visuals. It was shot on 16 millimeter. It's documentarian in its style. We've mentioned that. And Jake mentioned that in particular. It's cinema verite. If you know what that means, it actually does that, which means, yes, This is an art house movie. It doesn't have its typical narrative. It's trying to do something different. It's trying to do something artsy, right? Because the writers of this film, John McNaughton, and the other writer is Richard Fire. Richard Fire is big into the art house. McNaughton was into the grindhouse. This is the art house meets the grindhouse. I think it works. These are words that we've been throwing around. I think they're very appropriate. Cold, cynical, and chilling. That is the tone and atmosphere of the movie. I love the idea of the three main characters. What? And cynical.
Clinical and cynical.
Yes, clinical and cynical. You're right. So then I love that these three characters and the way their lives circle around each other, and that it's a character study that doesn't judge or try to explain what's going on with Henry or anybody else. It just shows us in a very real way, and it's meant to be uncomfortable. All points we've already said. Let's reiterate them again. Jelani, style and structure, what do you think?
Once again, it is unsettling. We're gonna keep using that word because it is. The film does that. It's quickly paced. I like the structure of this film. I'm not gonna go into the style yet because the way it's paced, it's a quick deal. And like I said, if they added a police procedural on top of this, it wouldn't be the same film. And you need to have this film be this man just kills and walks away. And that's it.
And it's showing this mundane side of murder, right? Or it's like he's a blue collar serial killer. It's almost like it's not like in other movies and shit. Like we see like the planning and like the fantasy about it or anything like that. No, it's like going to work in a way. It's very right.
Yep.
Like
like his thing. His deal is he wakes up in the morning, does whatever job he needs to do, kills somebody, or in the morning, brushes his teeth, takes a shave, kills somebody.
Yeah, it's a blue collar movie, man. It's a workers movie. That's why Chicago is a good character to pick for this film.
It is, and how you pick Chicago as well, and this goes to the style. Chicago is one of the murder capitals of the world. Murders happen every day in Chicago in some form or fashion, and it's just walked off. It's passed away. It's thrown away. The way the guy's shot in the middle of the street, no one hears it, nobody screams, and there's nothing. It's like they picked this spot specifically to kill this man, and it just feels so odd that it's happened so quickly. All the murders in the beginning of the movie, the liquor store owners are just dead in the liquor store, just shot dead. And like I love the murders in this film, by the way. At the very beginning of what you're telling. Yeah. You don't see the murders. I love the entire flowing shot of Henry picking his next victim, and he's at the mall and he sees that woman and follows her home, and she doesn't notice at all. She's not even looking at him when he's like, puts her sunglasses on and looks away. He's looking at her the entire time, and she doesn't notice it, and drives to her house. And then he doesn't even kill her then because he sees her husband. Because he's like, unlike Martin, he sees someone there and doesn't react to it. He's like, there's another person. I'll wait till later. And then later in the film, it's not even that long, he goes right back and kills her. He's like, I gotta find her. I kill her. And and the way she's found, the way that shot goes to where she looks like she's watching the TV, but you walk and the music kind of moves into it, like I said, but it moves over the shot. And then the shot is like her, like dead, but she's got cigarette burns all over her. And it's like and a wire around her neck. It's gruesome. Like, and you're not really, in fact, like I said, every shot in this movie of every kill, the most gruesome murder is the one with the lady with the glass in her face.
A bottle? Yeah, dude.
Her face. Jesus. It throws you off. It's like, it's unnerving for that reason. It's so much gore, but at the same time, you don't see it. They just show you the aftermath. I love how this movie only shows you the aftermath of certain killings. And I don't know. This is style that go. I guess they mix together. The style
Yeah.
and the structure are right on point. It's like an hour and like 22 minutes. It's a clean film. It's very gritty, and it makes me sad. It really makes me sad, but it's done so well. I'm like, oh my god, and he gets away with it. Yeah, and
For now.
for now, I know there's a sequel. I think, and the sequel is not good or something. I don't know.
Yeah, don't worry
And it
about
doesn't.
it.
I'm not. I never will.
It's
the
like a
second I
Blade
heard-
3. Like, it'd have been nice if they would have done it, but they didn't, you know.
Yeah, they didn't. Like a fourth Matrix movie. Who the crap knew that there was a fourth?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cool, right? Yeah, it sounds like it would be
We should
cool, but
probably
they
do
should,
that. We should probably
they should
revisit
just,
Neo.
yeah,
Or the-
exactly. Well put, though, Jelani. What about you, Brooks? What do you think about the style and structure of this film?
Yeah, like I've mentioned, the style, like this movie is very grim dark, and it's very uncomfortable in some scenes. But like, you know, it does like present a kind of interesting idea, like, you know, about this guy, and like it kind of gives you like maybe through his relationship with the Otis's sister, like, you know, it kind of gives a glimpse, like maybe there's more to this guy. Maybe he does have some humanity to him, but like, you know, throughout the movie, it's just like, nah, he's just a guy who likes killing people, pretty much. And like, you know, I think the how they keep it ambiguous as to like how Henry actually feels. Like they don't really go too deeply into how like, his philosophy or anything like that. You know, the most they do is like when he's explaining to Otis, like, you know, about the modus operandi and all that. Like, you know, the only real like, you know, character worthy is like, you know, how he's managed to not get caught all this time. And I think that's like, you know, an interesting aspect of this movie as well. You know, everybody's mentioned that there's no police procedural part in this, and you know, a lot of the thing about, you know, a lot of serial killers and stuff is the fact that, you know, the reason they didn't get caught was because, you know, the police, you know, basically police incompetence or police, like, you know, disinterest in it. You know, the idea that, you know, serial killers pick their victims by how much they know, like, you know, that they can get away with, like, you know, how much cops won't give a shit enough about, you know, to investigate this person. A lot of times, like, you know, like the smart serial killer, the serial killer like Henry, who just wants to kill, will just, you know, will kill people that they believe they can get away with killing, that they don't think the cops will like look too deeply into. And, you know, it's like the grimness of the world, like, you know, in our country, like, you know, there's always this idea of the bottom, like, you know, where you reach a certain point in your life where, like, you know, you can't get out. It's like, you know, you're stuck in quicksand. Like you can't get a decent job. You can't have a decent apartment or house. You can't have a decent life. And, you know, it's like Henry is drawn into that. He's like, you know, he's stuck in that, but like, because of the nature of, you know, he likes being a killer, like he doesn't mind it as much. You know, he seems more comfortable than like, you know, Otis or his sister being like, you know, at the bottom, like, you know, and that's, you know, kind of how he gets away with it too, is like, you know, he's you know, he's, you know, a lot of like, you know, more cynical and like, you know, hateful people would say like, oh, he's kind of doing the world a service by like, you know, getting rid of these like, you know, scummy folks, like, you know, the guy who sells the TV, like, you know, like he's not, it's like, oh, he's not killing anybody I would care about, you know, he's not killing somebody in my family. But, you know, it's the idea of the serial killer is like, you know, it's not your family yet, you know, like, because the longer these kind of people are allowed to like, you know, exist, they will eventually get around to you or somebody you care about. And, you know, that's the grim, I think what really makes this movie so dark and grim is the fact that, you know, not only does he not get caught, but like, you know, at no point is he ever worried about being caught. Like he has never shown he never shows a bit of concern about being caught by the police at any point in this movie.
Yeah, I like that. I like those points. What about you, Jake? What are you thinking?
Oh yeah, man. I love the style of this film. I was kind of reading into it. I like this whole blank cinema aesthetic that I've been looking at. You know, it's style defined as, you know, emotional detachment, neutral presentation of like what's going on of the events, right? No dramatic cues telling you how to feel about things. You know, it says, you know, I feel like that's why the film like feels so cold, right? It doesn't tell you really how to feel about anything. you know, I like that there's that absence of style and there's really no like presence of it. You know, we talked about like basically, right, like the documentary like style of it all. I really enjoyed. You know, as far as like the structure, I dig the kind of episodic, fragmented. My lights turned on a little bit more. Um, you know, kind of fragmented structure of it. I like that kind of framework if it's done well. Um, you know, I do dig that in the beginning it's really just kind of like going through the different killings, right? You know, and the different ways they've been killed, and they're very graphic. But too, right, like part of that is like we never see those things. I like what Brooks was talking about too. That you know, just the plain killing, like it doesn't even matter like who it is. He just kind of goes around and does whatever. You know, I think overall, I like too. You know, hour and 23 minutes, man. I like a good quick movie that gets to the point. I don't really think there could have necessarily been anything like added or subtracted from the movie that would have.
If this movie had been like 10 minutes longer, it probably would have been unbearable.
Yeah, like it wouldn't have like made it any better or any worse, in my opinion. I feel like it was just like a perfect amount of time for me. But overall, you know, and on top of it, Chicago, you know, yeah, I live in another city that's very well known for its violence where I'm at, and you know, Chicago's definitely up there, man. It's you know, I hear about that shit every day.
You know, some would even say Chicago is quite the character in the movie.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely, man.
Just
Dark
like the
alley,
waves, man. Just like the waves.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say about Brooks. Brooks is like talking about, I think, or earlier he was talking about when they shoot the guy like underneath the bridges or underneath the roads and stuff, and it's like right, like they don't even look around, they don't do nothing. All Henry is like, "Can you take care of this by yourself, Otis?" And he's like, just shoots the guy multiple times, and they just peel off. They don't even peel off, actually. They just drive away.
Just calmly drive away.
Drive away.
Kill a
Like,
couple of hookers, push them out the door, drive away.
right, like that is Chicago, though. It's like you probably hear so many gunshots probably within like a day or.
And like you don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like yesterday, or it was like during Misery, right? Like there was an ambulance in the background of Fable. And it's
Fable,
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, that checks out. You know what I mean? It wouldn't
Well,
be.
and the crazy thing is, it's
Yeah.
like certain parts of Chicago. So an interesting thing is take a movie like this and compare it to the representation of Chicago in, say, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Sure.
Right?
I was thinking
Whole
about
different
Family
look at
Matters
the
when I
city.
think of Chicago. No, like
Family,
why didn't
yeah.
Steve Urkel come in and save the day, man?
Yeah.
Or Balky.
Yeah.
Well, see,
Oh, man.
and one of the
I-
this Blu-ray has amazing special features, right? And one of them is this documentary called "In Defense of Henry." And I saw this other podcast talking about it earlier, and they were like, "That's a very appropriate." Anytime anybody wants to have a serious discussion about this movie, it's almost like you have to title it that, right? Like you almost have to defend
Yeah, for sure.
showing any kind of like reverence or understanding of this film. But in that,
Yeah,
oh man, what were we talking about? I just lost it.
In defense of Henry.
I know, but I lost why I was talking about it to begin with.
How
Jake,
do
was there
we-
anything
How
else?
do we defend this art house flick, right?
Yeah, I don't know, but we're trying right now. Joe, what do you think about the style and structure?
I think it really works. Again, like you know, stuff's already been touched on, like the sort of detached documentary feel the movie has at times. Like you know, I'm really interested in that. But like, I thought I'd add that the movie, in a lot of ways, is like an inverted noir, because you get the girl who needs saving, and you know, sort of like the tough guy who's going to help her out, but you can look at it, and in a lot of ways it's very similar to like Chinatown. Like she's coming for help, but like it's all like inverted. Like the way to help her is to not investigate what's going on, so there is no investigation. And like they both, like Jack Nicholson and Michael Rooker here, both, despite their genuine interest in saving her at the end, are the reason she's dead. Like it's very, like, structure wise, when you're watching the movie, it's really more in vein of like those noir films where, like, yeah, technically the lead is Michael Rooker and we're watching it through his eyes, but the structure of the movie, like the structure around something like Chinatown, like, yes, Jack Nicholson is the protagonist, he's moving the plot forward, but it's structured around Faye Dunaway's character and figuring out that mystery, and she's the conclusion of, like, all of that. And here Becky shows up looking for help, and then the movie's structured and everything's going on around her and how it's affecting her, and what they're doing affects her safety, and what is she going to do as a result of what they're doing. So it's very intentionally structured around her. And rather than being the girl that lives or doesn't live at the end, like a lot of those noir movies, the girl does get killed in the end. So it does sort of have this interesting inverted noir feel that, again, I don't think really gets discussed. So
I like that. I like that that inverted noir. I haven't heard that. Like, so the only person I've ever really heard mention like a noir aspect to this is Joe Bob Briggs, right? Who did an episode of At the Drive-In on this with John McNaughton there. And he says, he's like, I think you created the horror noir. And he's like, and that's a very hard word to say. And it is. I do remember what I was going to say about the special features. I was just going to credit that documentary as to one pointing out the Ferris Bueller's Day Off Henry comparison of this portrayal of Chicago. That was not my idea. Cliff, what do you think about the style and structure of this film? A portrait, some might call, of Henry.
The static camera setups, like, lots of natural lighting, very gritty. And that's good because it makes you feel lived in, and it makes you feel like you're intrusive on this, right? Like you're watching this unfold, kind of like the way the movie showed us that we're watching Henry and Otis watch that family.
That aspect of voyeurism, yeah,
right. But like we're the voyeur in this film, right, to all the circumstances, until there is nothing more than the bloody folded suitcase on the side of the road.
And that's why I love that scene when they pull out of the home invasion video, and we're watching along, and it's almost like they're like, you see what we're doing here? Like, you are Henry and Otis in a way.
Yeah, at least for this 1 hour and 30-minute ride, this is it. You're it. But instead of cinematography slickness, right? It's just like kind of grainy, intrusive, and like you're just there. So it wants it to be that we are complicit in what's going on, right? Like Jelani said, he felt dirty after watching this, right? You absolutely should feel dirty after watching this, right? And what makes this movie what it isn't like traditional horror. It's the psychological devastation that takes place from watching this. And maybe I'm being a little too overdramatic because I'm still sensitive to murder.
As you should be.
I really hope the day doesn't come where I'm just like, and also, and I'm going to just say this because music is next, minimal score for this movie. And that really helps form the stuff. It's so funny. We do style and structure separate from music, but here as much as many of the films we reviewed, but here very much like minimal score is a big part of style and structure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. The music is definitely a big part of everything, right? So is the performances and the crazy thing is that we blend style and structure together, but man, I don't want the show to be 4 hours long, you know?
No,
Like imagine if we went 5 hours on Martin. I could break up every little tiny bit, but I do like to spotlight music because it's not something that most people really think about the first time they're watching a film or something like that. But like, to me, it's like I've done music throughout a lot of my life. And so like, that's a big deal to me. And I want to talk about the music. Let's do it. Robert McNaughton, no relation to the director of this film. This music is incredible. And sometimes, and we've talked about this plenty of times, it's the absence of the music. And when music, so you could have a score that sounds beautiful and you can listen to it and be like, man, that's like inspiring or whatever. But if it doesn't fit into the film, right, with its structure, with its style, with its pacing, it sticks out. It's annoying or something you don't even really notice. I'm not saying you always have to notice music, but you sometimes notice the way you feel. This is a score where you notice, I think, the way you feel. And it's in the silence and the sparse nature of the score. Also, the juxtaposition of those droning synth like notes and that heavy reverbed and slowed down like drum machine for some of those things like that, to some other original moments or original score things that were composed for this were like some of the songs that you hear throughout the movie, right? And I like that this movie, this is something that's really interesting to me, is this movie is bleak and the music provides that. But I don't want to get into that just now because the movie does have humor to it, which is another thing I think that a lot of people find difficult about this movie. But as hard to watch as that home invasion scene is, that scene with the TV guy is kind of humorous in a way. And there are other moments that are humorous. And those interactions, even interactions with Henry and Otis, can come across as charming, slightly in a weird, grisly way. But also, like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm as desensitized. We're all desensitized here. Let's just say it, right? We're all deviants and desensitized. We're Americans, right? But like, what's crazy is that moment when they kill that dude, like on the street underneath, that shit is actually really funny to me because like that dude gets out and he's just like, y'all need some help. Like, it's just like, it's a weird, I don't know, man. It's a weird bit. I think this movie has humor in it, but the music is truly terrifying. It really accentuates that bleak atmospheric quality, that like detuned piano notes that like are like they signify Henry's theme, that like descending like out of tune piano, like discordant thing. As soon as this movie starts, the music sets everything up and everything else follows it. Jelani, what do you think about the music in the film?
Yeah, dude, I agree with all that. This music is depressing. I like the soundtrack, the music that comes with it. There's I don't know, the dancing scene where they're playing with the camcorder, and that whatever that music is, I like. It's like Ooby Dooby from what you call it, from First Contact. I don't know what it is, but it feels right for the scene, but I'm still like bothered by it. I don't know how to explain that. But she's dancing and she like awkwardly kisses Henry, and he's like,
yeah. That's music written for the film. Ken Hale and Stephen Jones were the ones who did some of those music.
Yeah, it's good music. But it's disturbing. It just, everything about this movie, like I said, is very just.
And then throw in like the sound design, like the opening shots that you were talking about with the victims and the bodies, and you hear like tones, and then you hear like distorted audio cues from the killing, right? And if you pay attention, it is Henry, and sometimes I think it's not Henry, but it's distorted in such a way that it doesn't sound like the way he is. but we never see him like that really. So that's why that moment where he like,
you don't see
no, Otis is wrong. It's your sister. When he gets deep and like aggressive, that's when that's why those moments stand out. And the music and the sound design really helped that.
Yeah, it really does. And it is so prevalent through the movie. Like I said, it's depressing. It's just, it's heart-wrenching at the end where, you know, that suitcase gets thrown out and that music plays at the end of the movie. And I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe she did get, you know, he left her in that hotel room with the shower running or something. Maybe that happened.
Maybe.
And he cut himself shaving, so that's why there's blood on the suitcase. So he's like,
man.
No, that's a lot of suitcase blood. That's a lot of suitcase blood. Now, if we want to believe that he just killed the motel manager and that that's what that was about, and he just kept right on going and just left that girl there playing the guitar, running the shower, you know?
Yeah. Like Crystal Method says, keep hope alive.
Yeah, keep hope alive. But let's be real. We saw what took place all 127 minutes prior to that. Okay.
He said he guessed he loved her. That's all. I think he loved her, so he left her alone. That's what I think.
Well, he doesn't know how to have a loving relationship, man.
I know that. He's a serial killer.
I know, yeah, obviously. Brooks, what about you, man? What do you think about the music?
Yeah, like, you know, this soundtrack, like, you know, it popped when it needed to, I think. But like, I think my favorite song or score would be Otis's death scene. Like, that was when I really noticed the soundtrack, I think. And you know, it's very 70s, which is, you know, that's when this movie is from, and it very much captures, like, you know, that kind of feeling of, you know, that era. And like, you know, that's what this movie is. Like, you know, it's very much kind of trying to capture like what it was like at that time, like, you know, kind of the vibes that were going on. And I think the soundtrack, like, you know, really adds to that. It makes you feel like, you know, like, you know, what time in our history that this story is supposed to be taking place in.
Yeah, the 80s.
He was giving tips
in
and
the
change.
80s?
Yeah, it's the 80s.
Tips and change.
But that's
like early 80s?
Like, it was 86 when it was filmed, so I'm guessing it was probably around 86.
Oh,
85.
Like mid 80s.
Yeah, 85.
That's all you had to do was be like, yeah. And then nobody would have noticed. We just rolled right on through. Jake, what about you? What about the music?
How dare you contradict me?
How dare you correct me, sir?
It's another one that was very similar to Misery, except like it didn't necessarily. I think it kind of mirrors the film, as in like I don't think it necessarily like what do I want to say? It doesn't necessarily like put the tension really high, or like, you know, when like something dramatic happens, like it doesn't really like play to that. And you know, it's very like you said, like Spotlight, right? Like it's not through the majority of the film. It does what it needs to do.
Right?
Huh?
It's not a forecasting score, so it's not like
right. Like it, you know, it
like
doesn't
leading you into suspense, right?
It's like, oh my god, like something bad's gonna happen. It doesn't really, you know, it doesn't do those things.
It's like something bad happens, and the music just goes, "This is how you feel."
Yeah, so you know, it's very, very like the movie, right? It's like very affectless, right? Like there's no affect to it, which is. I like that, you know, and I don't know, man. I like dig those types of like soundtracks that are very like kind of electronic and weird, and just like I find it very interesting, you know, like with the certain like weird instruments they come up with for like sound effects and like other things.
Yeah,
but it definitely fits the tone of the film really well. So, and you know, there's not much I can say about it. It's one of those soundtracks that does what it's supposed to do for me.
Absolutely. What about you, Joe? You got thoughts on the music?
I'm not going to pretend that I have new thoughts by just reiterating what everyone else said. We've already gone longer than the movie. I'm good. Go to Cliff.
I was also going to comment
no
on
notes, bitch.
Longer than the movie. We've become those people, right? We really have. It's a there are clips on YouTube and there are reels on Instagram that make fun of this intimately. But yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? The lack of music and sound is what's so powerful, right? And then, as Delaney pointed out, it's awkward when it's there. But and in this case, I felt that it belongs very much in style and structure. The lack of sound, the use of music when it's used, makes it all come together. And that's
I got Cliff criticizing the structure of my show, saying that music should be ingrained into that.
No,
I got Joe. All of a sudden, Joe's got a problem with the length of these shows over the last couple of weeks.
Go to Cliff. Go to Cliff, Robbie.
You talk to me the way fucking William Shatner talked to me just now, Joe Corallo, and you're lucky I love you, man.
I'm just saying I have nothing to add, so I'm not going to pretend like I have something to add.
I promise to hug you. I promise to hug you, Robbie. I swear.
All right, listen, before we rate this film, let's talk about what it means. We've already gone over a lot of this. So, guys, Joe's got somewhere to be, so let's kind of like keep this tight, I guess. Delaney, what's this movie saying to you?
This movie is telling me life can, at some points, is irredeemable. People are going to be people no matter what. There are good people in this world, but then at the same time, there's this soft white underbelly. It's a TV show. It's a YouTube channel. It's really good. And it shows the lives of people that live under what we consider normal life. And I think this would have been a good story for that guy on that YouTube channel to interview Henry and talk to him, of course, before he gets horribly murdered. But he needed to talk to Henry and figure out like where the psychosis comes from. There are just people like this, though. You can't explain it. Henry's a force of nature. He's one of these creatures that he finds people that he knows that he can manipulate, and he uses it to his advantage to find a living space, to find his next prey. He's one of those people that's out here every day. We got serial killers out here walking free for years. That Golden State guy that walked all the way through California, murdering and sexually assaulting people for decades, and it took DNA to catch him. You know what I'm saying? And they had small bits of DNA in the 80s, but it was in its infancy. So like if they had I don't know half a brain in Chicago, they probably would have picked up all the fingerprints and all the DNA and all the things that were left behind by Henry to catch Henry. But those signs weren't there, or people just didn't care. So it's also the fact that this world's like this. It's very nihilistic. It's very dark. And we have people like Henry walking among us every day. So, watch out. Don't be a good Samaritan all the freaking time.
They climbing in your windows. They snatching your people up.
Yep.
So
they doing it, man. Hide your wives. I'm friends with Antoine Dotson.
That was Our Town, by the way. I don't know if anybody ever put that together. That was Our Town, man. I saw that guy at the grocery store multiple times. What about you, Brooks? What's this movie speaking to you?
Well, I think it kind of like an underlying story is like the sister, Otis's sister. Her name is Becky, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But Becky is she is the most relatable. She's like the least flawed character, but she does have her biggest flaw is this the fact that she can't get over being sucked into this cycle of abuse. She talks about how her father abused her, and then she marries this guy and he abuses her, and then she goes to her abusive brother who's a fucking stupid hick dickhead, and then she's attracted to this other guy who's a murderer and abusive as well. It's it's kind of like sometimes there are certain people who as well meaning they seem they're good hearted, they're just average people, but they just into this into to abusive relationships or like, relationships with people that are like, just not right for them. And, that's kind of I think her story thread in this is kind of the most tragic because, she is like the most relatable, but like, at the same time, it's like, God damn lady, like, why are you like this? Like, why are you drawn to these fucking people? Like, these guys, like they suck, your brother, he's not a good guy. His friend who just got out of prison, like, I think Henry kind of puts on a little bit of a more sympathetic face for her, though. I can kind of get her hint with Henry, but like, she's probably known Otis for most of his life. And like, she had to have known like what a piece of garbage he was. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like, but sometimes like you can't help it, that's just the kind of people that are in your life and you got to make the best of it. But like, I think she, and, it's also like hinted at, she has like a child, I guess, that she like talks to over the phone. Like, she has like, a life somewhere, but she keeps getting like, drawn into this, like, spiral of, just shitty dudes.
Well, and this, and the sad thing is sometimes the small world that surrounds you is the life you own, the only life and the only life you're ever looking for, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like even when you're looking for something better, you're looking at it within the framework of your small world, if that makes sense. And I don't mean small world as meaning, a tiny little fucking Mario
like
world.
Guys like Henry and Otis, like you can understand why they're in the quicksand, why they're sinking, why they're at the bottom. But with her, it feels like, she should have a chance. But
that's one of the sad things, man, is like we take those around us with us, right? Like that's one of the sad things, man. And others take us along with them. Jake, what about you? What's this movie speaking to you?
Oh man, there's a couple things. I like the whole voyeurism of the whole film, and that it really kind of puts us in that seat of probably for these first timers, like, why the fuck am I watching this film? And what it means to you. I really do enjoy kind of the banality of like evil, right? Like, I know Joe mentioned kind of like a lot of like serial killers, at least the ones that we've watched, are a lot of them are supernatural in sense, like, at some point like Jason and Michael Myers were like normal at some point, but like then they kind of get this supernatural where they're like unkillable now and keep coming back. And I think Henry is really frightening because he's fucking ordinary, you know what I mean? He's like just an everyday guy, just going around fucking killing people. And Delaney's right, like there's tons of people like that out there. There's tons of people that with the in the whole like trauma aspect of the film, that like trauma has a huge effect on certain people and can bring those people to do those certain types of things, dependent upon how they're treated or dealt with, right? And even bringing in like institutionalizing like somebody, to where you can look at Otis and just see that's kind of like part of it, you know what I mean? Like he even goes to his PO and is like, everything's fine after he's like killed like one or two people, you know what I mean? Like everything's cool, job's going good, everything's normal. That's the scary thing, is that like people think that's fucking normal, you know what I mean? That's what's really scary. That some of these people like just see that as normality. That's kind of where I'm at with the film.
Dude, absolutely. Everybody's been on the right on so far. What about you, Joe? What are you thinking?
So there's two big points here that I have. The first one, and it's feeding off of some of what people are getting at, like the authorities, like the power structures that be that dictate comfortable society and all of that. If you are not part of that, they do not give a fuck about you. Mm-mm. Henry and Otis kill almost exclusively people that are like, a lot of them are prostitutes, but then like, and sometimes it'll just be like, random acts of violence and stuff like that. But like, if you're not killing or interrupting important people's lives, it's not really a priority.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's just not, you know? And they go into that with like Begonia and stuff like that. Like there's a manhunt for Emma Stone's character very early on because she's important. And she reiterates that in the beginning of the movie. But like here, it's like, yeah, they're killing people that don't matter enough. Like his parole officer, you know, since you mentioned that point, like he cuts it off early. He's like, hey, yeah, I gotta go, you know, take my kid to the you know, orthodontist or whatever. And like, you know, same time next month, like as like the way like bureaucracy is designed often in a way to be like, hey, look, if you can just work with us in the system and the system just keeps going, then like it's fine. It's whatever. And it's only a problem for me. It's all reactionary. It's a problem for me if you make it a problem for me. If I don't see you making a problem for me, I'm just going to keep going through the motions too. So there's just a lot of that there. And then, you know, the other point is with Becky's character. You know, Brooks went into a bunch of this, but like to sort of drill into a lot of this further, Becky comes from abuse. So abuse is all she knows. So she is seeking out abusers to help her because abusers are the only people that exist. Like that's her life. That's normal. That's like, so, oh, she went to get help from her brother who they make very clear was already sexually abusing her. She then finds a guy she knows for a fact basically is a killer and is like, I need you to get me out of this situation. She was constantly looking for ways to get out of situations, but she wasn't but she was so caught in this cycle of abuse. The reality was she wasn't getting out of anything. She was just moving from, you know, one source of abuse to another and fleeing instead of being able to break that cycle or do some introspection and to be like, oh, wow, I am looking to help from the wrong people. And she, in turn, is the POV character that, you know, like the sort of like for people who've seen movies like The Woman in the Window. It's Fritz Lang movie, 1944 noir that is foundational. It's one of the 5 noir films that the French coined the term film noir from, if you haven't. But it's a very similar situation of there's a professor guy, and the professor who's the lead, played by, was it Edward Robinson? He is a character who gets sucked in a situation of, he's not normally like this, but like these things sort of suck him in. And in this one, which is more of like an inverted noir, she's sucked in and she doesn't, like, she can't get out. And like, you're supposed to put yourself in those shoes and be like, this could be me, not Henry. Henry's a force of nature. You're not supposed to think, oh, anyone can be Henry or anyone can be Otis. You're supposed to think, oh my God, like I could be Becky. I could be stuck in a situation I'm not getting myself out of because I don't understand how to get out of it. And this movie, I think, has a powerful message like that. I think that's the kind of message that Siskel and Ebert saw in it as an important lesson for the public. Because like, that's a real lesson. That's a real sort of thing that I think you can take from this movie as a great positive is, how do I keep myself from being like Becky in this movie?
Damn.
Pretentious yet profound. Love you, Joe. Every time. Because surely everybody's seen this movie, right? We're all just like this.
Yes, and it is Edward Robinson. Yes, you're correct, sir. 1944.
You mean Edward G. Robinson?
Indeed.
Sure. Of course.
Meanwhile, I'm just over here writing it down like,
Yeah, I gotta watch this one.
Thank you, Joe. That was absolutely awesome. What about you, Cliff? What do you think? Follow that up, man.
Follow that up. Okay. Violence is routine. This movie doesn't glamorize violence. It's normalizing it. There is no buildup. There's no payoff. It is cold. It is mechanical. And that is fucking terrifying. Yes. And number two, there's no moral structure here. There is no justice. There are no consequences. Evil exists in everyday spaces, and that sticks with you when this movie is over.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredibly well said.
Well played.
Incredibly well said. Everybody, incredibly well said. This has been a great discussion on Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. I want to second what everybody said, including what Joe said, which I had never thought of. So that's really, really cool. And other things that I had never thought of that everybody else has said, man. I really thought half of y'all were going to hate this fucking movie and like be mad at me. I thought, I don't know. I guess I've always been slightly anxious.
I never want to watch this movie again, but
That was I jumped on that one as soon as he mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, give me Henry, let's go.
I picked it, and this movie means a lot of things, and it's got so many levels of complexities to it. But what I want to focus on is a little bit on what Cliff was mentioning about the mundane nature of the violence here and how it's not sensationalized, and even the nudity and all those bits are not titillating at all. Right? So I think it's also making a statement, or what I'm pulling from it, especially this time, is as violence as entertainment, right? Like, what is the difference between Henry and Jason, or Rambo, or Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like, there could be things within the plot, like we understand why Rambo's killing all these dudes in Rambo 3 or whatever, but honestly, Rambo 3 is a great example that I didn't even think about using, but Rambo 3 is a quite ironic film nowadays from today's perspectives, geopolitically speaking. So what is the difference in celebrating the murders that a Jason Voorhees or a Michael Myers is delivering to us every year or two, and we're just eating it up with popcorn and hot dogs, nachos and candy and milk duds. Milk duds are candy, but they're a separate kind of candy because they're very, very special. But you get what I'm saying. Like, what's the difference between glamorizing the violent actions of a hero like Rambo or a villain like Jason, and then we see a movie like Henry that's not as violent as those movies, that's not as titillating or as sensationalistic as those movies, but then everybody goes, nope, not going to do it, right? It's ridiculous to me, and I think this movie is a great exploration on that, especially in particular the intentionally crafted scenes where they kill the television salesman guy, and then right after that go into like the snuff film, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think that's powerful. It's a movie that makes me uncomfortable. It's a movie that makes us realize that there are lines. And I think there's a little bit of Henry, a little bit of Otis, and a little bit of Becky in all of us, right? We do have to learn to accept that, but doesn't mean we have to act on it. I'm not saying that just because we all have a little bit of Henry in us means that we're all going to be some serial killer, right? But there's a lot of situations that lead to this, but it's also a great understanding that just as like there are people and neighborhoods and situations that you don't want to fuck with, don't take for granted like that everything is like your corner of the world. Same. Henry is one of those movies that makes you realize that, because not every movie is like that. And this is one of those movies that you watch and you go, okay, maybe this wasn't the movie I should have watched. Actually, I'm glad I watched it. I don't want to watch it again, but I'm glad to know that just as in life, movies, I'm thankful that we have movies that can be bold enough to try to, and that's what's crazy it is crazy. We can watch a movie where a dude's head explodes. It gets an R rating. Everybody cheers. You watch a movie like this that's like, got some statements to make in a very disturbing and real and truthful way. And everybody wants to say it's like gross and nobody should ever see it, and it should just be banned or something like that. I think it's ridiculous. But anyway, violence is entertainment, and that's coming from me, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be talking to y'all next week about how much I love Psycho 3. So you know what I'm saying? Like, just watch out, man. Just watch out. We're coming. Anyway, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. What a great conversation. Let's rate this movie and get up out of here. Out of 5 possible you digs, what do you think, Jelani, about this film?
My God. This movie disturbs me on levels I didn't think I'd be disturbed on, but it is also, like I said, I'm desensitized to it. So I watched it on the outside looking in, kind of weird thing, but it is impressive. The cast is tight. I do want to say one thing to Joe real quick. You were right about Misery and Begonia. It's a series of conversations.
Yeah.
And those conversations sometimes end well and sometimes they don't. But in those two movies, they compare very well. I just wanted to mention that. I don't know why. But yeah, I love that movie. I love that freaking movie. But this film, I'm going to watch again. I have to watch it again. It's one of those things where I gotta make sure I saw what I saw. I gotta make sure that. Well, I know it's life. I know it's life. This is how people act. There are good acts in the world. There are people in this world that do good things, but there are people like Henry, and it bothers me. This movie makes me want to watch this so I know what to look for. Because I've already had a weird situation where I think I have trust issues with it. But with the trust of people, sometimes you give them too much. I will give you, before I give my rating really quick, I'm giving you a quick example. I live on a street on the side of town. It wasn't the best, but now it's a little better than it was. We have a police station right across the street from me. But the people come up to my door all the time asking for something. Doesn't matter what. And my dad and I were outside one day a few weeks ago, just raking the pine needles outside. I hate pine needles. They fucking suck. And while we're outside raking these leaves, this gentleman drives around. He's honking a horn. He's like waving at us like he knows us. And we don't know him. I don't know him. My dad doesn't know him. Whatever. He stops his car, gets out of the car, and walks up to me and my dad. And he's like, yeah, man, I got Enfamil that I need to get for my daughter. And she's got to do these things. And I can't afford it. And he pulls out money, like 20s and 10s and 1s all together. And he's showing us this money. And meaning he's already got money. He's showing me that he has money and he wants more money to buy Enfamil. He's got more than enough to buy that. By whatever baby formula he needs. I say immediately, no, I don't have any money. I got no cash on me. You can go on now. My dad is behind me, and my dad is one of the sweetest people you will ever meet. I swear it. He pulls out his wallet. He's got $10 in it, and he gives it to this man. And I know he's a scammer. The man literally got out of his car to talk to us to get money, basically. And my dad just gives it to him. And then I'm livid. Like, I'm just like, dude, all right, you got your money. You can go. I turn to my dad and I'm like, Dad, why did you do that? He's like, well, it seemed like he needed help. I was like, no, he didn't. He has money. He already had money to do what he needed to do. And my dad's like, sometimes you just gotta help people. Sometimes you just have to do these things. And it, to this day, it kind of makes sense to me, but at the other time, I know what this world is. A, because Robbie shows me these movies. B, I look at the news, and I didn't used to, and I stopped for a short period of time. But there are good people in this world. My father is one of them. But I'm scared for people that are good like that to be taken advantage of by people like that guy.
Yeah.
So because of that, because I need to know this, because of the awareness that I have now over what it is, I'm going to give this 5. This is a 5.
Mm-hmm.
This is clearly a 5. You have to see the good with the bad. It disturbs me. It rocks me to my core. It bothers me. That the situation with my dad still bothers me because God knows what would have happened if anything else would have happened the way it did. And that bothers me. And you have to see things like this to be aware of it so that you don't walk into situations like that guy trying to get trying to help these 2 gentlemen on the side of the road and he gets horribly shot. You gotta watch stuff like this. This gotta make you uncomfortable. I show this to if I had a 6-year-old daughter, I'd show it to my 6-year-old daughter.
Jelani takes the same lesson actually I take, which is like, no, I ain't stopping. I ain't helping your ass. I don't know you. Now, if I know you, like if Jelani's like, hey man, I need to get some baby formula. First of all, I'd be like, who'd you knock up? like, what's her name? Because I'm surprised that happened. And then I would be like, number 2, of course. I mean, of course I'd help you, man. But it just happened to us on our way to Orlando. Like we were getting gas, and this dude just comes and like tells us this whole story. You know, how many times have y'all heard? You know, trying to get to the next town. Blah 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 blah. Kevin's like reaching his wallet, man. I'm like, I said no, man. I ain't got nothing. Like, I'm sorry. And I've met Jelani's father, and Jelani's father is a really really great soul of a human. Seriously. So, hell yeah. 5 you dig, Jelani. Man, I like how this is going so far. Brooks, what are you thinking? You got his story. Is your dad a nice guy, man? Is he a great guy?
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. But yeah, like this movie, like I said, like it's a conflict within me. Like I think if you had like, you know, if it wasn't for in this context of like, you know, me doing this movie for the show, and like, you know, if you had just like told me, hey man, you should watch this movie, and I watched it, I would be like, this movie sucks. I hate it. But, you know, considering like, you know, that I'm thinking more about it, you know, I have a more of a analytical eye towards it. I kind of appreciate what it is, even though like, you know, like I said, it makes me feel bad. I don't like it. I don't like the way this movie affects me. I hate being reminded that criminal scum are allowed to exist, and like, you know, they will just continue to fucking do heinous crimes. Like, you know, and you know, there's a particular news story that's happened pretty recently about some FBI files regarding a deceased scumbag, and like, you know, a lot of the crimes he's done, and he, you know, it's already started to fade away. Like, you know, hardly anyone talks about it anymore, and you know, of course, nobody who is involved in it is suffering the consequences. And like, you know, this movie does remind me like of that in a way. So like, you know, it does make me feel bad. I resent it for that. I resent it for the way it makes me feel. But at the same time, like I do appreciate, you know, what it's saying. Like, you know, I can appreciate that it's holding this kind of dark mirror up to us. And like, you know, even though I don't like what I see within it, I can acknowledge that I'm glad, you know, that the movie at least had the stones to show it to me. So I give it a 3. Like, you know, I think this movie, I could probably appreciate it more down the line, but like in my current headspace, it just like, you know, I just can't give it more than a 3. It's a good movie. I think it has a lot to say, but like, you know, it just does not. It's just not my thing. Yeah.
My favorite thing about Brooks when he rates films is that like the way he starts getting into it. I thought this dude was about to go 4 to a 5. And then he's like, I'll give it a 3. And I was just like, oh shit.
It's like a Goodreads review.
But I get what you're saying, man. Could you imagine that, Brooks, if I was been like, hey man, I got some Rolling Rock and some Papa John's. You want to come over and watch a movie with me? And I put this motherfucker on, you'd be like, what the
I'd be like, I fucking hate that movie, dude.
All right, Jake, what about you? What you sitting on out of 5 you dig? What would you rate this film?
Oh man, shout out to Jelani's dad. I'd be like, fuck off, get the fuck off my property. I've dealt with so many people like that. Yeah, and when I was living in California, it's just, you know, one sob story after another, man. I think overall, man, and now that I've watched it, another time. And I like what Jelani said. Like, it is something that maybe I don't watch all the time, but it is something I will definitely revisit. I've watched it a couple times already, but it is something that I definitely revisit. I like what it did, I like that it turns the eye on kind of how things are, and in terms of like people just right. Like I see people like that all the time. People don't give a fuck. They will fucking shoot you for looking at them wrong or fucking bumping into them, and they don't give no fuck. And people are just like that. And I think it's gotten worse over time. But yeah, as far as the movie goes, man, I'd probably give it like a solid 4.5. I think what it does very well. As somebody who likes all that kind of stuff, this just like kind of turns it on its head, and that makes me like it even more.
So what was that final rating?
I give it like a 4.5. Yeah,
4.5. All right, 4.5. I like that. I like that decisive decision.
4.5.
Decisive decision. That term right there, decisive decision. That's what this show is.
I'm usually very indecisive.
Just us saying things that are redundant. Joe, what about you, man? What do you rate this film?
Well, before I get into that, I'll give a story about my dad real quick. We went and saw as a family. My dad took me and my brothers. I have 3 younger brothers. To see the live-action George of the Jungle movie in
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser. That Roger Ebert, when he reviewed the film, said that the elephant that acted like a dog blindsided him with laughter. Look it up. He actually said that in his review. So, like, I don't know if we can ever take him seriously about it.
I love that is something that Joe, or remember in the review.
Yeah,
like when you were like, Dad, I'm so excited to go see this. Did you know what Ebert said?
Yeah. That's really funny.
So during this movie, there was a group of supervised special needs adults who sat in front of us.
Oh, nice.
At one point, someone turns around and just grabs the popcorn bag like out of my hand, eats it, and then gives me back like the empty bag later during the movie. To which I go, like, gee, thanks. As like a sarcastic New York 11 or 12-year-old would. After the movie, my dad, like, we all get up, we're out of the theater, and then he just looks at me and goes, "Why'd you say thank you to that guy?" But for my rating of Any Portrait of a Serial Killer, I have to go 5.
5. I like that.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Yes.
Cliff, we got a theme going on. You can share a story about your father if you want, and you can rate the film, or you can do one or the other, or just whatever. Whatever. Cliff, what do you
got?
Number one, as I said last night for my review of Beast of No Nation, and I'm going to talk to my therapist this Thursday about like why the fuck am I watching these films?
They're gonna be like, Cliff, you don't have to please everybody. You don't have to keep saying yes.
I know, but I had never seen this. And I do want to see it because cinema is more than just some shit that makes us laugh or scream, "Throw that shield, Captain America," or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
Cinema's more than that, right? And this is cinema.
Looked on that shield now.
But this is not right. But of course, but wait, you think I'm not gonna love every moment of Chris Evans running around with America's ass and throwing that shield? Of course I love it. I'll watch all three movies. But like Beast of No Nation, this is not a movie you get to enjoy. This is a movie you survive, right? And then you go have a goddamn bowl of ice cream or some sugar-free fucking pudding that I made or whatever the hell it is that I need to get through this. And then I put on some Bob's Burgers or some Brooklyn Nine-Nine as a comfort show to process.
Yeah, this is one I don't put on the commentary while I'm falling asleep, by the way. I don't do that one.
So, also, this is a little bit strange, but I remember back in the day, I wanted to go to my friend's house. I couldn't remember exactly how to get there, right? I know my father was driving me. I know we missed a street. And I said to my dad, just turn around this dude's driveway. And my father's like, are you absolutely crazy? He goes, people would just come out and shoot you for pulling into their driveway. And I'm like, that's kind of extreme, you know? And ultimately, I did not get to hang out with my friend that day because I forgot about the stupid street, you know, that I have now driven through. I drove through it Saturday morning, you know, like all these years later. And it's right down the road from where they filmed the opening scene of Super Troopers.
Oh, word.
You want to go to Mexico?
And that bar is still there. The Golden Rail is still there. And all this to say that, you know, after watching this film, I understand my father a lot more. And listen, the impact of this film, 5 stars. The performances, 5 stars. The atmosphere, 5 stars. Do I want to watch this again? Hell no, 2 stars. My entertainment value is a little bit mixed. And also, every reaction that you predicted, Robbie, for this was basically Ronaldo last night when we were reviewing Beast of No Nation. I cannot draw enough parallels between these two horrific movies that I watched over the same week.
I gotta watch Beast of No Nation.
Well, Cliff, when are you coming on for Cannibal Holocaust? You're gonna be here for that, right?
Cannibal Holocaust? Is there a musical number?
There's music.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Yeah,
because I feel like a movie called Cannibal Holocaust needs a musical number. You know,
They kill a turtle.
There is a musical.
That's not good enough for me. All this to say that I too land on a firm 4.5. You digs for this movie.
Nice. 4.5. All right. Let me wrap us up by giving us my out of 5 you dig rating. But before I do that, I got a little story. So back in the day, I was a little bit of a prankster, if you guys could imagine. And me and my homie, his name is Garth. We were like besties back in high school. We were friends at church. We go to church camp together. We were real tight. We were all that stuff, right? So we go to a buddy of mine's house that I hadn't seen in like 2 years, right? But we go to this buddy's house at night wearing masks, and we're there to like egg their house and roll the house, right? Like toilet paper roll it, you know? And so we're doing that. And then we get caught doing that. They call the cops, and the cops come, and it's a whole big ordeal. Apparently, you're not allowed to drive around wearing a mask. That's crazy in this town. But we got major trouble for that. So anyway, long story short, the police, I didn't go to jail, nothing like that, right? I was a kid. We were like in high school. They made us go and clean it all up the next day. They lived next to a guy in a biker gang who just was happening to have a barbecue the day that we were there cleaning up. So then we were getting ridiculed and mocked by like a party of a biker gang. It was really weird and surreal. Anyway, long story short, to say, I went back home. I'd never been home that late before, right? I get home, my stepdad, because my dad didn't really have too much to do with me or, you know, vice versa. But my stepdad, he's my dad. So I come in and he's up because he had one of those factory jobs where he would like do swing shifts and shit. So he's up and I'm like, hey man, I'm so sorry. I know it's like 3 a.m, blah, 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 blah. I didn't tell him anything that just happened because he looks at me and goes, Robbie, I know you're a good kid and I trust you. You don't have to tell me anything. I know that you're a good kid. And that was the moment in my life where I was like, I can fucking get away with anything, dude. Like I can do whatever the fuck I want, man. Like they won't give. I can smoke weed. I can fucking do all. I can like they just trust me. Cool. That took advantage of that. Now that's how we got. Yeah, that's how we got this version of Robbie. That being said, 5 you digs. I gave this a 5 when I reviewed it on Dylan's horror show a few years ago. I stand by it. 5 you digs. I think it's a perfect film. It does exactly what it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Cliff said. I love it. I think it's great. So a 5 from me and Jelani and Joe, a 3 from Brooks, and a 4.5 from Jake and Cliff for a PCP average of Brooks. Really? Do you want? Okay, 3. Okay, we'll just go 4.4969. Sound good?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sure.
It's a higher rating than I think we got over at Dylan's horror show. So
yes.
Anyway, in the chat we had some too. We had a 3 from Fable. He said he agrees with Brooks. Yeah, I'm with Brooks. I can appreciate what it is, but I don't like this movie. 3 you dig. Yeah, Fable was there when we did the Dylan's horror show review. That's a fun one. Y'all should go back and watch that. That was really good. So we got a 4 from Two Gun. We got a 4 from Metal Elf. What's up, Chad? How you doing? All right. So there you go. Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. March Madness is not over, but we are in the final week. Wednesday, catch me over at Heroes for Hire Comic Club, 8 p.m. Central Time, as we talk about The Substance, movie I have yet to watch. It will be my first time watch of The Substance. Friday, over at One Collection Down on Fable's channel, we're going to be talking about California, a movie I haven't seen since I was like I don't know. This movie came out, like 93? I'm like 12, 13, something like that. Yeah, it's been a long time. And next week, the grand finale of March Madness 2026, we're going to be talking about the entire Psycho franchise. That is Psycho, Psycho 2, Psycho 3, Psycho 4, The Beginning, and the 1998 remake starring Vince Vaughn. We're also talking about that one. It's been a fantastic March Madness, one of the best yet. And we got one more week to go. So everybody join us for those shows. I'll be there for all of them. Jelani, thank you so much for being here. What you got? Go Figure Reviews. Tell us about
it. Yeah. Glad to be here. Glad to talk about this movie. A lot of people have talked about this movie before, and it's bothered me on so many different levels to try and watch it. And then I watched it, and it did bother me. Did everything it told I was told that it would. And I still appreciate it. So I'm glad we had this discussion. We should probably talk more about news like this, but I'm not going to watch this in the future, like anytime soon, but I will watch it again. Of course, Brooks and I do this lovely TV show on the YouTubes called Go Figure Reviews. But this time we did a video with our friend Nate, who is Huggy at Huggy Bear's Toy Shop. He did the Cobra guard. This is the Cobra La guard. He's a big hefty guy. It's a string of Cobra themed villains that they've been bringing out for large prices. But check it out. We like that video. We have other videos on our channel. Check them out. We're going to be doing some more stuff coming up soon. So yeah, thanks guys for tuning in anyway. And get out there and go figure.
Absolutely. Everybody go check them out. Will somebody please throw out a link to Go Figure Reviews if you can? Brooks, final thoughts. Thank you for being here.
Oh, yeah, man. It's always a pleasure, of course. The March Madness spiral continues. Of course, I'm doing Go Figure Reviews as well. And tonight's figure I was messing around with was Pink Suit Chun-Li.
Nice.
Show that again. Oh, nice. Yeah.
She was like an exclusive. You had to order to next level. But I guess I've watched Psycho 2, and I'm ready to finish up the saga. So we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
what will I think of the antics of this Norman Bates fellow?
Yeah, it's going to be a very fun conversation to have. I think Fable's going to be on there. He's very excited. So he just watched.
And Psycho 2 was surprisingly good.
Psycho 2 is great, brother. Yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah, it really, really is. Jake, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Tell us where to find you. Final thoughts, my friend.
Yeah, final thoughts. Thanks for having me, man. It's always a pleasure to be on with you guys. Yeah, you can find me mainly on Instagram at Hounds of Gore. I have started building my YouTube page as far as I am putting a lot of my edits and shorts for the edits I've been mashing together of my time-lapse inking of my sketch cards with like the particular movie or manga or anime thrown in there. So you can check that out on my YouTube page or my Instagram page. What else? That's it for me for March Madness. I did one last Wednesday, last Friday, and today. So it's been a blast being able to do this with you guys. Hopefully we'll get a creator to interview here for me and my buddy Spud at Army of Darkness Comics in the near future here. But other than that, you know, I'm just posting shit on Instagram and doing sketch cards daily and working on some commissions. And, you know, I got a few sketch covers I want to be working on here soon. So,
heck yeah, everybody go check out Jake, especially on IG, because Fable just threw out a link there. Lots of cool stuff, man.
Thanks, brother.
Absolutely. Joe, thank you so much for being here. Final thoughts. What you got coming up?
Thanks for having me. I am so close to getting to like announce one thing. Like it's gonna happen. I'll be able to talk about things soon. But you know, I think I mentioned last time I was on here, they are reprinting the King Arthur and the Knights of Justice with Princess Guinevere and the Jewel Riders and a new 24-page story co-written by myself and Jordi Belair. It's going to be all in one fat trade. So you could check that out. Any more updates on things, you could, you know, follow me on Instagram's probably the best, at Corallo Joe. I just posted today about the information on my table for Brooklyn Indie Comic Showcase. I'm going to be splitting one with Chase Bluestone, who I did Sink to the Top with. So you can buy my wares in Brooklyn and Industry City, what was it? Yeah, April 18th and 19th. Or if you're in Chicago for C2E2, you can see me later this week. You know, so I'm looking forward to that show.
Hey, since you're going to be at C2E2, you're going to check out any of the filming locations from Henry?
You know, we'll see. I mean, I haven't been where I'm staying yet, so I might be staying at one for all I know.
Absolutely. Joe, thank you so much for being here, man. We always appreciate you. Cliff, we love you. Thank you. As you've become, in such a short time, such a core part of PCP Movie Night for me, man. So I'm very, very excited to have you on more in the future. Cliff, final thoughts. Where can people find you? What you got coming up?
Final thoughts. I can't wait to see what other films you're going to traumatize me with. You know?
Not until August and September and October do we get back into the trauma films, probably.
Yeah. And
It's not called March Sanity.
Yeah, I know, but damn.
Tell him, Brooks.
Damn,
I'm going to fuck everybody up, though, because one year I'm going to do March Madness, and it's all going to be basketball movies.
You know what? That would be refreshing at this point.
Blue chips.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, look of the Irish stack basketball players, part leprechaun. Like, refreshing.
We could do, you could do an Air Bud franchise review. Make everyone watch every Air Bud movie.
Way too many of those. Because do we count the Air Buddy movies, Joe? Like,
I mean, here's the thing. You're running out of franchises, so I think it's almost time to consider.
I'll definitely do The Howling and Children of the Corn before we do Air Bud, but you know, we'll get there.
Simon, yeah, no, oh god, yeah. It's the only way I'll ever watch every Air Bud movie, so I'll have to do it.
Now, surely you can get a fucking Blu-ray collection for like $10 or something, right? Somewhere, like surely.
Is that the same dog?
You're probably getting a digital package for $10 of all movies. Wow. So not what I have coming up, but something that is great to check out on my channel. Go to Clip on Comics, check out Behind the Panels with my interview of Tom King. That was fantastic. So please check that out. And I feel like I said that before, but I'm just so proud of it. I have an unboxing coming. I have no idea who my guest is this Sunday. I also have a 4-year plan to wear Joe down to help me write a vigilante LGBTQ anti-Christic drama. We'll see how that goes. It's
all you got to do is hit his page rate, man. It'll happen.
Well, you know,
Joe's like, yeah.
I have to look into that future. Also, I need somebody to draw it because you know me, I can't have just anybody, you know. But no, in all seriousness, I do want to publish things one day. But my point, and I did have one. So, Comics and Coffee Sunday. I don't remember who my guest is or who I'm going to rope into that. It should be a lot of fun. I'm going to be doing California with a K, right?
Oh yeah, California with a K. Oh, yeah, on Friday.
California.
I'll be there for that. I don't remember if I don't remember what else I'm down for in this March Madness, but I'm pretty sure I know I'm there for California. My first time watching that as well.
But you realize you're down for the Psycho franchise next week, right? That's 5 Psycho movies too.
All 5 Psycho movies. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yay. Okay. So I gotta read. I have 2 to go. I have 2 to go.
Yeah.
I have 2 to go. And I don't know. I just had a great time with you guys. And of course, I'm always on the Council of Comics. Sundays at 5, Mondays at 8, Wednesdays at 8, all Eastern time. We're giving away fabulous prizes this month to members of the channel, you know, including Peter Henry Gyrick's first appearance and some autographed Silver Surfer from Glenn Greenberg. And
I love Glenn.
And all 4, right? You do love Glenn? Oh, man.
Glenn's great.
Listen, Glenn is pretty cool, but I got to tell you about my interaction with him that made me surprised that you said you love him. Also giving away, Kid Venom issues 1 through 4, including including this, lovely foil and a 1 in 25. So head on over there, go do the membership. And of course, I'm waiting for my Black Cat and Catwoman slabs to show up for my Black Cat Catwoman claws out giveaway. So go to my channel. I only have a membership for $2.99. It supports my local food pantry, which supports my own clients who also want to watch George of the Jungle next month because we did a vote on it today. So how funny is that?
Wow. That's so funny.
It's all full circle, man. Right? And I appreciate you. You do a lot of great giveaways. You got a big heart, but I really appreciate you giving away Kid Venom because that was the book everybody said you couldn't even give away.
And it's bull. It's bull.
What up, bull?
Yeah.
Yo, first of all, people say, oh, the young people, they like the anime. This is the most anime shit you could hand them. This is like a gold platter. When they come in looking for Absolute Batman, just give this away with it. Be like, yo, just read these 4 issues. They'll come back. This is the most underrated little side shit character from Spider-Verse, Venomverse, and like they're not doing anything with it because, of course, why invest in anything because it's not flying off the freaking shelves. I was so down for Hickman's Intergalactic and they cut it short because it's not selling. I'm tired. Anyhow, just remember you can find me over on the Council of Comics and Cliff on Comics. Also, sometimes on Friday night, I'm over at Not Near Mint Condition. We have a really good time where I don't explode with all of my passionate feelings all the time.
All right. All right.
You should.
Do your breathing exercises tonight, Cliff. All right. I was just making a joke about Kid Venom, man. That's all I was.
But the thing is, your joke are words that were said to my face.
Damn.
All right. We weekly comic book review sometime this week, of course. What else is going on? The monthly comic book review is Thursday night. That's going to be up. I got Joe Casey back on the channel Friday evening to talk about Ben 10. I don't know shit about Ben 10, but all right, let's fucking go, man. Like, I'll chat with Joe again.
Oh my God, Robbie, watch the original series, which was run by the legendary deceased Dwayne McDuffie. Okay, because if you love Justice League Unlimited, you will love the original Ben 10 series because that man delivered like bam. You know, it was great.
The cool thing is with Joe Casey, he knows I don't know shit about Ben 10, and I don't have to pretend. You know, like when I interviewed the Zootopia guy, right? and like he was disappointed that I'd never seen Zootopia, and then I watched it, and Jeff Parker's kind of right. Like it was actually.
It's good.
It's not
No,
that
the
bad.
first
One of the best films they put out in a
I don't
while.
know what to say.
I'm not kidding. Watch the first season of Ben 10, man. Like, just do it as a favor to yourself, not as a preparation or whatever.
I'll try, but before that, I got to watch The Substance for my show on Wednesday. We got to watch California for the show on Friday, and then we all got a few more Psycho movies to talk about next week to wrap up March Madness, and then maybe I can watch some Ben 10.
I love how the last 3 chapters of March Madness are the gayest shit ever. I love that. I love it because California is just ripe with these 2 men when they're young, when they're super young and super fine. Then we go into, and then The Substance. I mean, come on, that
People
shit's
sleep on David Duchovny, by the way.
Huh?
David Duchovny's a heartthrob, man.
Oh, he is a heartthrob. He could probably still get it from me
There's a
today.
whole song out
You know?
there says David Duchovny, why don't you love me?
No, do you
There
know,
was a
you know,
reason that motherfucker was in Red Shoe Diaries.
You know what I'm upset about? You know, remember when he had a sex addiction problem? Where the fuck was he? Why couldn't I get near him during that time? I was like, oh no, he can't control his penis. I was like, oh, this is so terrible. Let me get down there and do something.
Out the window.
You know, just
All
terrible.
right, I think that's a good final thought.
I am weak.
Let me get down there and do something. All right. Thank you guys for joining for our conversation. We're dipping out, and for my final thought, let's just move on. Let's just move on.